Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel Throne of Seal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
In such circumstances, if they can't benefit from the demons, let alone the responsibilities that the priest temple must bear, even HaoChen would have to take responsibility. With their personalities, there's no way they can shirk their responsibilities. Indeed, after listening to Long HaoChen's words, Huang Shuo's breathing became slightly steadier. He signaled to his subordinates not to act rashly. Then he walked alone towards Long HaoChen, stopping about 20 meters away from Ling Xiao. "Tell me their situation. What do you want?" Huang Shuo said coldly. Long HaoChen calmly replied, "I want 10 pieces of the demonic dragon clan's magic crystals. You shouldn't be short of these." "Right, what did you say?" Huang Shuo became furious. An intense killing intent surged, but once again, he was stopped by Ling Xiao. Demonic dragon clan's magic crystals are different from dragon marrow. Dragon marrow is a special substance secreted by the demonic dragon clan themselves, which is an excellent supplement for both humans and demons, somewhat similar to musk. But magic crystals are different. Each magic crystal of the demonic dragon clan is not just a treasure for their clan, it's also a symbol of the dignity of the deceased demonic dragon clan powerhouses. Whenever a demonic dragon clan powerhouse falls in battle, they will go to great lengths to retrieve their magic crystal and offer it to the demonic dragon clan. Even within the demonic dragon clan itself, they won't use a clan member's magic crystal unless it's a matter of life and death, let alone giving it to humans. In the history of the demons, the instances of humans obtaining demonic dragon clan magic crystals are extremely rare, and each time, it led to a furious backlash from the demons. Even demon god emperors took action because of this. Long HaoChen repeated his words calmly, and emphasized his tone. "I want 10 pieces of the demonic dragon clan's magic crystals, and I want them right away. Dream Temple is about to sink, giving me the magic crystals now is still possible. Otherwise, once Dream Temple sinks, even if you give them to me, it will be useless. I'll emphasize again that I don't want to see any actions from the demons against me or the Temple Alliance after I get these 10 magic crystals. This is a transaction, not something I've seized." Huang Shuo was almost driven to spitting blood and anger by him. Did he think the demonic dragon clan's magic crystals were like candy? Grab it? You must also have that ability. He turned his head and looked at Dream Temple. Indeed, as Long HaoChen had said, the bright green light emitted by Dream Temple was gradually weakening. It seemed like it could sink back to the lake at any moment. Moreover, as Ling Xiao had mentioned earlier, there lived an ancient spirit dragon in the depths of that lake, and Huang Shuo admitted he had no ability to contend with it. Not even the demon god emperor might win against it. What's more, when that time comes, will I bow? And the others still be alive? Why should I trust you? Huang Shuo looked coldly at Long HaoChen. And I don't have that many of our clan's magic crystals. I'm only the commander of the Black Dragon Guards. Only His Majesty has the authority to mobilize our clan's magic crystals. Long HaoChen shrugged and said, "Well, then I have no choice. You don't have the magic crystals, but there are so many of your clan members here, right? For the sake of your crown prince, it seems you're not willing to sacrifice your lives." Huang Shuo's breathing suddenly became heavy. If it were only their demonic dragon clan this time, it would have been fine, but there were also powerhouses from various other clans. Long HaoChen's words were truly infuriating. As soon as he said that, the gazes of other powerhouses from various clans towards Huang Shuo and the Black Dragon Guards couldn't help but change. This was also where Long HaoChen's cleverness shone. The demons were powerful, and there were many powerhouses from various clans here. Furthermore, the demons who entered Dream Paradise this time were heirs from various clans. Therefore, these powerhouses from various clans were very concerned about Long HaoChen's news, and what Long HaoChen requested was only magic crystals from the demonic dragon clan. This caused a shift in the attitudes of the other demon powerhouses, although they were in awe of the might of the demonic dragon clan. They didn't dare to say anything openly, but deep down, they must have been thinking, "For the sake of your crown prince, aren't you willing to sacrifice your lives? And what about the heirs from our various clans?" Huang Shuo was caught in a dilemma, and after a brief silence, he looked coldly at Long HaoChen and said, 3 crystals. I can only offer 3 of our clan's magic crystals in exchange with you. And how can you prove that you can make Dream Paradise stop disappearing and wait for our people to come out?" Long HaoChen smiled calmly and said, 3 crystals are impossible. I want 10, not 1 more, and not 1 less. Senior Huang, you should make a decision soon. Look over there. As he spoke, he pointed towards the direction of the Dream Temple. Sure enough, at that moment, the thorny shrubs connecting Dream Temple to the shore began to slowly vanish. The shrubs retracted towards the shore, and Dream Temple began to sway slightly, slowly sinking towards the lake's surface. "You!" Huang Shuo was greatly alarmed. If all the young demon powerhouses who went in had died, he would indeed bear responsibility. but that would only be a part of the responsibility for this matter. However, after Long HaoChen said these words, his responsibility became much more complex. It might even become a matter of his command, leading to the deaths of so many demon god heirs. At that time, even his family might become angry with him. No! Huang Shuo shouted loudly. Strangely enough, after he shouted like that, Dream Temple actually stopped sinking. Huang Shuo was stunned. He turned to look at Long HaoChen, only to see Long HaoChen raising his left hand towards Dream Temple, and a faint green light connected across the lake to Dream Temple, as if he was controlling Dream Temple from sinking. I believe my sincerity should be evident now. However, I can't maintain this for too long. Long HaoChen said in a serious tone. Zhang Fangfang, who was behind Long HaoChen, walked up to him. This seemingly gentle knight raised his hands, and then he softly shouted, 10. Just as everyone hadn't understood what he meant, he lowered one finger. 9, 8, 7. Damn, is this a countdown? It's ruthless. It's too harsh. Han Qian and Ling Xiao stared in amazement at Long HaoChen and Zhang Fangfang, not to mention Huang Shuo. Even they became nervous. These two guys are really cunning. No matter how they grasp the enemy's movements, but the cooperation is too tacit. Stop shouting! Huang Shuo angrily shouted. He waved his right hand, and a pale yellow pouch flew towards Long HaoChen. In the end, he couldn't withstand the immense pressure. Han Qian quickly stepped forward, blocking in front of Long HaoChen, and took the pouch. He opened it and looked inside, and suddenly, a very strong and deep purple aura emanated from inside the pouch. Han Qian was momentarily stunned, and his eyes showed a hint of excitement. Then he quickly tied up the pouch and nodded towards Long HaoChen. Long HaoChen smiled calmly and said, looking very surprised as he said to Huang Shuo, I didn't expect Senior Huang to bring so many good things. In that case, we won't hold back. Thank you. He was actually just making demands on the spot, and Huang Shuo ended up revealing his treasures due to Zhang Fangfang's countdown. Zhang Fangfang's countdown was quite unexpected. It directly forced Huang Shuo to reveal his treasures. Quick, how are Bao and the others? Huang Shuo roared. His emotions were on the verge of exploding, and he could launch an attack at any moment. At this moment, the powerful members of the alliance were also very nervous. Among the Temple Knights, the one who had previously spoken with Han Qian watched Huang Shuo coldly. A straight sense of pressure connected him to Huang Shuo. But the others didn't feel anything. However, Huang Shuo let out a muffled grunt as he was suppressed by a dominating pressure, taking half a step back, and his expression changed again. The fact that he could be suppressed to this extent, even among the demon race, only the top 10 demon gods could achieve it. Even though he could fight back if he went all out, he was confident he could make his opponent suffer. But he would also fall in the process. Long HaoChen knew that he couldn't provoke Huang Shuo any further at this moment, so he said in a deep voice, we humans have always kept our promises. Since we've received Senior Huang's items, I'll naturally tell you what I know. Inside Dream Paradise, we encountered your demon race several times. Our people were killed by your demon race. The heirloom crown in my hand was obtained by killing a green flame demon. As for the other demon races, we didn't deal with them. They seemed to deliberately oppose Dream Paradise, which led to the outbreak of demon beast riots inside Dream Paradise. We had to fight them with all our might, because the three of us had never killed any heavenly beasts within Paradise. We weren't sucked into it. Among your demon race, a few were injured or killed, but the rest were saved by the demon god emperor who tore open space. After hearing this, Huang Shuo's mind suddenly relaxed a lot, but he almost spat out blood. It was just such a piece of news that made him pay 10 demon crystals from his people. The cost was simply too high. You should know that those 10 demon crystals were left behind by the Black Dragon guards who fell in previous battles. The reason they were with him all along was that every time Demon God Emperor went out, he might face attacks from the strongest demon hunting squad among humans, and he was the right-hand man of the Demon God Emperor, so these demon crystals were prepared specifically for the Demon God Emperor. He felt his vision blur for a moment. Is it that simple? Huang Shuo gritted his teeth and said, after pretending to think for a moment, Long HaoChen said, oh, and there's one more thing. I remember that at the time, a demon named Bao said a few words to another demon who possessed orange magic, and then that demon used a special orange magic, which imprisoned the guardian of Dream Paradise. But the person shining with orange-red light self-destructed like that. His heirloom crown was obtained by Bao. What? The 2-star demons who came with Huang Shuo this time, who were already 2-star demons wearing orange magic robes and having orange long hair, were instantly shocked. Even though their faces were previously stern, hearing this, they couldn't help but exclaim, their faces no longer grim. Great prophecy. Bao actually had him use the great prophecy. Obviously, Long HaoChen's words couldn't be false, because his description of the great prophecy was spot on. Furthermore, only the great prophecy could have such a powerful effect, and it imprisoned the guardian. Huang Shuo, you must explain this to us, otherwise you'll have to explain to the Star Demon God when we return. 2 Star Demon God experts approached angrily. Huang Shuo's face also turned somewhat ugly. Only he knew the mission that Demon God Emperor assigned to Ah Bao, and he wasn't surprised that Ah Bao had the inheritor of the star demon god use the great prophecy. However, Long HaoChen's words at this moment were clearly malicious, and he had no way to refute them. For a moment, the atmosphere among the demons changed, although the Black Dragon Guards were the main force this time. There were also many experts from other demon races. They were all elites of their respective races. There were even some young masters among them. Ah Bao's ability to have the star demons use the great prophecy, a suicidal and taboo magic, raised questions about how they would deal with their own kind. In an instant, the demons had lost their unity. Huang Shua's face changed rapidly, then he glared fiercely at Long HaoChen, and firmly etched the young man's face into his memory. Then he turned to the two star demon experts and said in a low voice, "This matter hasn't been fully investigated yet. If the young master has already been saved by His Majesty, we will definitely report it to the star demon god when we return. Moreover, we still can't confirm whether what the human said is true or not." Just at that moment, the dream temple had already sunk slowly, submerging into the lake. Even if they wanted to investigate further, they couldn't do so now, let alone enter the dream temple. With the protection of Ling Xiao and Han Qian, Long HaoChen retreated to where the powerful members of the Holy Temple Alliance were guarding. Huang Shuo looked at these humans with resentment, shouted angrily, "Let's go." After saying this, he led the group of demon experts away dejectedly. However, Ling Xiao didn't immediately order them to leave the dream forest, but instead called Long HaoChen, caier, and Zhang Fangfang together, and carefully inquired about what had happened in Dream Paradise. Except for concealing the fact that he had brought his companions into Dream Paradise using the Tower of Eternity, he described in detail the process of entering Dream Paradise. And when it came to the point where Ah Bao and the others failed to capture Yi Xiaolei, he simply said, it was due to the strength of the magical beasts inside Dream Paradise, without boasting about himself. After listening to Long HaoChen's account, Ling Xiao's expression turned grim. Indeed, the losses suffered by the demon race this time were significant, but they had also been deceived. Divinity? Long HaoChen didn't understand what divinity was, but Ling Xiao, a 9th rank expert and the master of the Temple of Knights, knew something about it. He had a vague suspicion that Demon God Emperor had reached a certain level of cultivation and needed divinity to further enhance his power. Moreover, once he obtained divinity, it would likely bring true disaster to humanity. At that time, perhaps no one would be able to stop him, and this divinity was actually inside the Dream Temple. Just like how Huang Shuo couldn't be sure if Demon God Emperor could defeat the Guardian Elf Dragon of Dream Temple, Ling Xiao couldn't be certain if the Guardian Elf Dragon could truly protect Dream Temple. Thinking about all of this, Ling Xiao's face turned somewhat pale. After a brief hesitation, he ordered some of the Zhen Nan Pass experts to stay behind and guard the Dream Forest, ready to send back information about the situation here, and then he led the others back to Zhen Nan Pass. Although Han Qian was also surprised that Demon God Emperor could tear open the space of Dream Paradise, his mood was still quite good at this moment. 10 demon crystals. Those were a full 10 demon crystals from the legendary Black Dragon Guards, the demon crystals of a 9th rank Black Dragon, and this stuff was truly a rare treasure. It could be said that each one of the Black Dragon Guards' demon crystals could be exchanged for an epic level equipment. You can see just how valuable they are, even though they had a dark attribute. The energy contained inside them was extremely pure, and in the hands of some alchemical masters, their effects were unparalleled. Originally, Long HaoChen intended to give all these demon crystals to Zhen Nan Pass. But how could Ling Xiao accept such a grand gift? It was only when Long HaoChen mentioned that it was a token of gratitude for the Dream Stones that Ling Xiao agreed to accept 2 of them. Han Qian, on the other hand, didn't hesitate and took 3 of them. After all, he was Long HaoChen's mentor, and these things would definitely be more useful in his hands now than in Long HaoChen's. The remaining 5 were handed over to Long HaoChen to deal with as he saw fit. Even though he had taken 3 of them, these demon crystals could be exchanged for merit. As for the exact amount, Han Qian didn't mention it, and Long HaoChen didn't ask, but Han Qian told him that he would find out when he returned to the Holy City and went to the Demon Hunting Squad Mission Tower to receive the next mission. This operation, for the demon race, was a failure, but for humanity, it couldn't be considered a success either, and they still had a lot of follow-up matters to deal with. On the way back, Long HaoChen asked Ling Xiao to treat caier's injuries. Just now, he had taken 2 demon crystals from the Black Dragon Guards, so Ling Xiao naturally spared no effort, even casting a 9th rank healing spell, before returning to Zhen Nan Pass. Caier had already completely recovered under the powerful healing magic, and his spiritual power had even increased. After returning to the main hall of the Temple of Knights, Han Qian and Ling Xiao didn't have time to pay attention to Long HaoChen, and both hurried off to attend a meeting. Long HaoChen and Caier temporarily separated from Zhang Fangfang and returned to their underground chamber. "HaoChen, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so pale?" Caier looked at Long HaoChen, who had suddenly turned pale, with confusion. Long HaoChen said in a deep voice, "It's HaoYue. HaoYue is calling me. I'm afraid its evolution has encountered some trouble." "Caier, I have to go right now. Take me with you. Since the Tower of Eternity can even break the rules of Dream Paradise, it should be able to break the rules of the space where HaoYue is located. However, it hasn't been 6 hours since your last teleportation. Long HaoChen shook his head and said, 6 hours won't be necessary. He didn't have time for too much thinking, so he grabbed caier's hand, and under the golden light of eternal melody, quickly returned to the Tower of Eternity. After the awakening of the Scion's constitution, Long HaoChen's relationship with eternal melody seemed to have changed somewhat. And there was no longer a need to wait for 6 hours. He had a vague feeling that, if it was just him teleporting, then he could return to the Tower of Eternity at any time, with his companions. Although there was still a need for some time interval, it definitely didn't require the 6-hour wait. Among all the companions, caier was the only one who currently had full combat strength. Wang Yuanyuan seemed a bit lost, and Long HaoChen thought she was injured. Therefore, after returning to the Tower of Eternity, Long HaoChen didn't tell them about HaoYue, but instead went straight back to the Temple of Knights. In an instant, a purple light spread all over Long HaoChen's body, and the power of the bloodline contract between Long HaoChen and HaoYue was released, directly causing a teleportation effect. Long HaoChen still vividly remembered the danger he faced during HaoYue's evolution the last time. At that time, Long HaoChen was only a 4th-rank knight, and his strength was far from what it is now. That time was indeed very perilous, but fortunately, he was lucky, and he managed to save HaoYue. Now, Long HaoChen was already a 6th-rank knight, and after the battle in Dream Paradise, he awakened the Scion's constitution, and his spiritual power had increased significantly, with his internal spiritual power reaching 7,000, and his external spiritual power undergoing a dramatic increase, although Long HaoChen didn't know the exact level, but it was definitely beyond what it used to be. Therefore, he had full confidence in rescuing HaoYue. He had full confidence in rescuing HaoYue. He was even more eager to see what HaoYue would look like after evolution. During the last evolution, HaoYue evolved a 3rd head. Then, in the following period of time, HaoYue consumed a large amount of demon crystals, and Long HaoChen didn't even know the exact quantity. But every time on the battlefield, HaoYue was the one who gained the most. That's why it was able to enter the slumber of evolution again so quickly. The more time Long HaoChen spent with HaoYue, the more curious he became about HaoYue's origins. When it first appeared, it seemed to be just a weak magical beast, but as time went on, HaoYue displayed more and more strength and abilities. Its most formidable trait was its evolution ability. In just 2 short years, it would probably break through to the 6th rank after this evolution. Long HaoChen had never heard of such a rapid evolution before. What intrigued Long HaoChen the most was Demon God Emperor's interest in HaoYue. He was almost certain that Demon God Emperor had been looking for HaoYue from the beginning. Considering that Demon God Emperor wanted to obtain divinity from Dream Paradise, Long HaoChen couldn't help but wonder if HaoYue also had divinity. However, he quickly dismissed that thought, as it seemed too absurd. With a flash of purple light, the sensation of being back on solid ground reappeared. And Long HaoChen immediately radiated a protective layer of holy light around himself. This wasn't Long HaoChen's first time in the world where HaoYue originally existed, and he remembered the murky space here vividly. If the Dream Temple was Dream Paradise, then this place dominated by black and red could only be described as hell. As soon as he arrived, Long HaoChen felt a strong aura of death, and a familiar and restless atmosphere surrounded him. It was HaoYue. At this moment, HaoYue was enveloped in a thick purple light, with all 3 of its heads raised, and all 3 of its pairs of eyes tightly shut, continuously alternating enchanting spells. One could feel that the murky elemental energy in the air was continuously rushing towards HaoYue, and after passing through the purple light surrounding its body, it would turn into scattered purple light and merge into HaoYue's body. Compared to when they had parted, HaoYue's body had grown a bit larger, reaching nearly 8 meters in length, and it had become more robust overall. The 2 protrusions on its back had grown even taller, each forming a triangular shape. The most significant change was in its heads, where the protrusion on the left side of the 3 large heads had risen to the same height as the other 3 heads, while the protrusion on the right side remained the same when separated. "Good buddy, I'm here. You focus on your evolution, leave everything else to me." As he spoke, Long HaoChen turned and walked away. HaoYue had once again chosen a cave for its evolution, and as he reached the entrance of the cave, he couldn't help but be slightly surprised. The location HaoYue had chosen was similar to the one from its previous evolution, still halfway up a mountain, and the cave showed signs of being artificially carved. The sky was dark and gloomy, with no stars visible at all. In the air, there was a strong presence of dark and fire elements, along with some other elemental attributes, but they were mixed and chaotic, not as abundant as the dark and fire elements. Looking around, on the ground, there were countless cracks, and even rivers of intertwined lava could be seen. What kind of world was this? Besides the silence, Long HaoChen couldn't sense even a hint of life here. He concentrated and expanded his perception. Fortunately, there were no enemies in sight at the moment. At least for now, there are no enemies present. After awakening his own physique, Long HaoChen, even in this desolate place, could extend his perception over a considerable range. After a brief moment of thought, Long HaoChen tried to communicate with Eternal Melody, to see if he could reunite with his companions in the Tower of Eternity in a short time. Just as he infused energy into Eternal Melody, a strange scene suddenly filled his mind. He felt that he could directly teleport to the Tower of Eternity. No longer bound by time constraints, but more importantly, he was astonished to discover that he could sense the whereabouts of his companions inside the Tower of Eternity, and even teleport them directly to his side. The surprise brought about by this change was immense, and Long HaoChen couldn't help but smile. With this change, it would undoubtedly greatly increase their chances of survival in the face of danger in the future. Furthermore, with this change in Eternal Melody, he no longer needed to urgently summon caier to his side, because after HaoYue completed its evolution, he could return to his own world alongside HaoYue. But his companions brought to this side would need to use the Tower of Eternity to leave. Long HaoChen's communication with the Tower of Eternity no longer required waiting, but transferring people would still take some time. He made a quick estimate, and it would take half an hour to transport one person, accumulating as more people were transported. Suddenly, at that moment, Long HaoChen's eyebrows raised in surprise as he looked into the distance. Almost identical to the last time, vast numbers of black skeletons were pouring towards them. As he looked at the sea of skeletons, Long HaoChen couldn't help but remember the words of the necromancer from the last encounter. Although at that time, he had been too nervous to think about it thoroughly. He had focused all his energy on protecting HaoYue, and after returning, he had been occupied with competitions, and hadn't given it much thought. However, his astonishing memory allowed him to recall those words now. Now, thinking about it, Long HaoChen couldn't help but feel a strange sensation. At that time, the necromancer had said, "No, what you're guarding is the reincarnated demon god, the creator of this world of darkness and fire. It's because of its existence that this world has become what it is today. The space is torn, and lava flows across the land. Countless races have perished because of it. The powerful races fled, and those who couldn't escape turned into undead. Only the undead can survive in this world of darkness and fire. Human, I don't know how it brought you here, but your aura of light disgusts me. Your actions anger me even more. I'll give you one chance. Go back to your own dimension. Today, the aura of Austin Griffin has appeared in my territory, although I'm just a necromancer, but I must kill it. Otherwise, no one knows what kind of destruction it will bring to this world when it fully awakens. A reincarnated demon god, the creator of darkness and fire? Is it because of HaoYue that this world has become like this? This is too unbelievable." Long HaoChen shook his head vigorously, unable to believe the words of the necromancer. Furthermore, he hated himself for doubting HaoYue's trustworthiness. He still vividly remembered how, back at the Night Temple, he had summoned HaoYue, who had been covered in wounds, and had saved HaoYue's life with his own blood. Similarly, without HaoYue, he might have died on the battlefield long ago. Over the years, HaoYue had always been with him, and he could even say that, apart from his parents, HaoYue was the closest person to him, even though he had spent less time with caier than with HaoYue. Long HaoChen had never regarded HaoYue as just a mount. It was his brother, his best brother. The doubt in Long HaoChen's eyes quickly turned into determination. Would he trust an enemy over his own brother? Absolutely not. Just thinking about it, his heart became calm, and there was nothing but a strong determination in his eyes. At that moment, figures began to rise from the distance, advancing together with the skeleton army below, nearly as if they were part of the open ground. Those who tread on black clouds, their eyes gleaming with eerie green flames, were none other than the necromancers.